Quiet people often exhibit personality traits and behaviors that can be intriguing from a psychological perspective. Here are some interesting psychological facts related to quiet individuals. Listening skills. Quiet people tend to be excellent listeners. Since they're not always eager to dominate the conversation, they have developed the ability to listen carefully and attentively. This can make them very good at understanding and processing information. Observation. Quiet individuals often observe more than they speak. This can lead to a deeper understanding of social dynamics and nonverbal cues. They tend to notice things that others may overlook. Internal processing. They are usually internal processors who think before they speak. They prefer to analyze their thoughts internally before expressing them, which often makes their contributions to conversations more thoughtful and considered. Introspection. Quiet people often engage in introspection. They may have a rich inner life and spend time reflecting on their experiences and feelings. This self-reflection can lead to high levels of self-awareness. Selective sharing. When quiet individuals choose to share their thoughts, it's often because they have something important to say. Their contributions can be quite insightful, as they only speak when they feel it is truly worthwhile. Introversion. Many quiet people are introverted, meaning they recharge by spending time alone. This doesn't mean they are shy or antisocial. Rather, they find that solitude helps them to regain energy. Stress response. Some studies suggest that quiet people might be more sensitive to sensory and emotional stimuli. This heightened sensitivity can make noisy or chaotic environments particularly overwhelming or stressful for them. Creativity. Quietness can be conducive to creativity. The ability to turn inwards and explore their inner landscapes without distraction can lead to unique and creative thoughts and ideas. Empathy. They may have a high degree of empathy as they tend to be tuned into other people's emotions and reactions. This sensitivity can make them good friends and confidants. Nonverbal communication. Quiet individuals often communicate as much through nonverbal means as they do with words. They may use facial expressions, gestures, and other forms of body language to express themselves. Leadership style. Quiet people can be effective leaders. They often lead by example and have a democratic style of leadership. They may inspire trust and respect because they listen to others and consider all viewpoints before making decisions. Risk of misinterpretation. Quietness can sometimes be misinterpreted by others as aloofness, disinterest, or lack of confidence. However, silence is not necessarily indicative of any of these traits. Preference for depth. Quiet individuals often prefer deep, meaningful conversations over small talk. They seek out connections where they can have substantial and authentic dialogues. Conscientiousness. Quiet people are often conscientious. They think through the consequences of their actions and tend to be reliable, organized, and thoughtful. Comfort with solitude. Unlike those who feel uncomfortable if they're not constantly interacting with others, quiet people are often quite comfortable with solitude and may actively seek time alone to think and recharge. It's important to note that while these facts can be generally true, every individual is unique, and not all quiet people will fit these descriptions. Additionally, being quiet is not necessarily an innate trait. It can also be situational or a choice influenced by cultural, situational, or environmental factors. Certainly, here are more nuanced psychological aspects related to quiet individuals. Cognitive processing. Quiet people often have a more reflective cognitive style. They prefer to take their time to process information internally, which can lead to more deliberate and strategic thinking. Learning preferences. They may favor learning through observation and practice rather than through verbal instruction and discussion. This can make them particularly adept at learning from their environment. Communication style. When quiet people do communicate, they may choose written over verbal communication. Writing gives them the time to organize their thoughts and express themselves clearly without the pressure of a real-time conversation. Conflict resolution. They tend to avoid confrontations and might use more passive or indirect methods of dealing with conflicts. This isn't necessarily due to a lack of confidence, but rather a preference for harmony and a more thoughtful approach to disagreement. Resilience. Some quiet individuals develop resilience through their introspection and ability to navigate social situations without the constant need for external validation. Social networks. Quiet people may have smaller social circles, but these relationships are often deeper and more meaningful. Quality over quantity is a common theme in their social life. Adaptability. They can be quite adaptable, learning to navigate a world that is often geared towards extroversion. This can develop skills in patience and flexibility. Stigma and cultural perceptions. In some cultures, quietness is valued and seen as a sign of wisdom and thoughtfulness, while in others, it can be seen as a disadvantage or a trait that needs to be overcome. Quiet individuals might be aware of these perceptions and may feel pressured to adapt their behavior in social settings. Selective social participation. Quiet people often choose their social engagements carefully. They might prefer settings where they can interact one-on-one or in small groups rather than large, noisy gatherings. Autonomy. They may value autonomy and self-sufficiency, finding satisfaction in being able to pursue their goals and interests independently. Mindfulness and presence. Quiet people are often quite present in the moment. Their observational nature can make them very mindful and attuned to the here and now. Boundary setting. They can be good at setting personal boundaries because they have a clear sense of who they are and what they need, especially in terms of personal space and time for reflection. Subtle influence. Quiet individuals can exert influence in more subtle ways, such as through their consistent actions, reliability, and by serving as a role model for others. Hidden talents. Their talents and abilities may go unnoticed at first, but once discovered, they can be surprisingly profound and well-developed, benefiting from the quiet person's tendency to practice and refine their skills in private. Nervous system sensitivity. Some quiet people may have a more sensitive nervous system, which can make them more prone to being overwhelmed by high levels of stimulation. This biological trait is sometimes referred to as sensory processing sensitivity. Value-based actions. Quiet people often act in accordance with their values and beliefs, which they have had the time to reflect upon deeply. They may be less influenced by trends or peer pressure. Information processing. They are often methodical in their approach to processing new information and may seek to understand all aspects before forming an opinion or making a decision. Understanding the psychology of quiet individuals is not about pigeonholing them into a fixed category, but recognizing the diverse ways in which personality traits can manifest. It is a reminder of the richness of human variability and the importance of considering the quiet voices, which may not be the loudest, but can offer profound insights and contributions. Delayed gratification. Quiet individuals may be more inclined to delay gratification, a trait associated with patience, long-term planning, and foresight. This is linked to their ability to be reflective and not act impulsively. High self-control. They often exhibit high levels of self-control, which can help them resist the urge to speak out of turn or react hastily in situations that may benefit from a more measured approach. Complex problem solving. The introspective nature of quiet people can lead them to be excellent problem solvers. They're able to concentrate deeply on complex issues and consider various aspects before arriving at a solution. Intrinsic motivation. Quiet people may be more intrinsically motivated, finding their drive from internal satisfaction rather than external rewards or recognition. Detail-oriented. Their observational skills can make quiet individuals very detail-oriented. They often notice subtleties that others miss and can pick up on discrepancies in patterns or arguments. Discomfort with self-promotion. In a society that often rewards self-promotion, quiet individuals may struggle with or resist the need to sell themselves or their achievements, preferring their work or actions to speak for themselves. Preferential learning styles. They may prefer and excel in self-directed learning environments where they can study at their own pace without the pressure of immediate verbal feedback. The bystander effect. Quiet individuals might be more susceptible to the bystander effect in groups, where they are less likely to speak up if they believe someone else will. However, If they perceive a real need or moral obligation, they can also be the most likely to act. Cultural nuance. In collectivist cultures where group harmony is emphasized over individual expression, being quiet is often more normative and thus less psychologically informative. In contrast, in individualistic cultures, quietness can stand out more and be a more deliberate choice or trait. Relationship building. Quiet people often build relationships slowly and intentionally. They might take longer to open up, but when they do, the connections they form are typically strong and authentic. Intuitive understanding. They may have an intuitive grasp of complex emotional dynamics, making them sensitive to the needs and feelings of others, sometimes even without extensive verbal communication. Quiet leadership. Known as quiet leadership, their approach to leadership focuses on empowering others rather than commanding them.
Thank you for joining us in this captivating journey into the realm of the mind and its extraordinary capabilities. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration. If you're as fascinated by the magic of the mind as we are and want to continue uncovering its mysteries, be sure to subscribe our channel here. Our next video promises to take you even deeper into the enchanting world of the mind. Be sure to click here. I'm Eileen, signing off. See you in the next video.